Good morning, everybody. We just drove in a snowstorm, so that was exciting to get here. It's currently 8:45 in the morning, so we usually don't record this early. How are you feeling?
I'm really unimpressed with our car in the snow. Kind of like shockingly surprised at how bad it was doing. It's not the first time we've driven it in the snow, but that's like probably the worst it's ever handled in the snow.
Does it have all-wheel drive or no?
I don't know.
No, it definitely doesn't have four-wheel drive, I don't think. Does yours?
Yeah, mine does.
Okay.
Most trucks do. Sorry if I sound a little bit stuffed up today. I'm a little bit sick because my 3.5-year-old had a little cough and he coughed straight in my face.
You think that's why?
Yeah.
Toddler germs? Probably from Disney as well. I'm super glad that Noah didn't get sick though, because last time we went to Disney, he got pink eye. So yeah, luckily he has stayed overly like healthy, I feel like, overall. Yeah. Utah has been kind of crazy with the weather. I think next week it's supposed to be like in the 70s, which is kind of nuts. But we go from snow to sunny and 70. Definitely over winter, honestly. I feel like if you don't ski or snowboard, which we both like grew up, like I know how to, I just haven't gone in a long time. I don't know. I just feel like if you don't really do winter sports, winter in Utah is not the funnest.
We don't do winter sports.
That's what I'm saying. Like we don't even, we haven't even gone like snowmobiling or like, I would love to take Noah to like the ice castles or something like that too. Like
Surprised we didn't.
we still could. I think it's still open.
We'll have to chat and see.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just a little bit over winter, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, especially after being in Florida for 10 days where the weather was perfect.
Yeah. Like I'm scared. If anyone doesn't know, which I feel like most people who listen to the podcast know, that we're moving to Florida for the summer, but I know it's going to be so hot and I'm probably going to be eating my words, but I'm excited for the beach.
I'm excited too.
I'm excited for the vibe, you know? Like I keep looking up Miami right now, and I believe that there was a tennis open in Miami, just barely. Did you hear about that?
No.
Oh, okay. Miami just seems like a happening place. Like there's always stuff going on, it seems like.
Dude, I tried telling you that. Like I tried telling you that years ago. I was like, dude, I just feel like you would love Miami. I just feel like you'd love it because you're kind of like that too. Like you're a very vibey person and you love like lots of things going on and like you're fun and you like the beach. It's like everything that's good about California, except it's a little bit more tropical in Florida. And I feel like there's more like I guess that's not necessarily fair to say. It seems like there's more of like a Caribbean Latin culture in Florida than like a Mexican culture in Florida. Not that like one's superior to the other, but I feel like sometimes when you're standing at the beach and you look at the color of the water, if you didn't know where you were at, somebody could say, "Oh, you're in the Caribbean," and you might believe it. Like Florida's different. It's very, very different.
Yeah, I'm excited to experience it. And just like the energy that you're talking about. And I think there's always going to be something to do.
Always. There will always be something to do. And
then just so much to explore and experience and stuff too. And obviously I'm probably going to experience like some of the kid stuff too. Because like we passed the Children's Museum a bunch when we were there. Like there's a bunch of kid stuff that I would love to go see as well. I'm excited for the food for sure.
Yeah, the food's going to be off the charts. Like we love Cuban food. We love all different types of food. And truthfully, I feel like since being married to you, I've tried so many different places. Like I've always been open to trying places, but you're definitely like more of the foodie in the family. And it's always just fun, you know? And because we have your mom coming out, we'll have like date nights and stuff. And it's going to be a really, really good time. Going to explore Miami. I think that, I don't know if I fully explained like why we're going. Yes, we're opening up a new pest control office there, but I've wanted to live in Miami or like try it out for probably like 10 years now. I remember it was like the first cruise, like I remember going on a company cruise when I was working in Oklahoma for Urban X.
Yeah.
And just feeling like when we were docking the boat at port, just like looking at the skyline, it was like in the morning, the sun was coming up. I remember just feeling like I was going to have an office here someday.
Yeah. Isn't that so cool though? Like for things to come to fruition like that? Because I've had those feelings of, I think I've told you this before, when I moved to Thailand it was like a service trip that I did for almost 3 months. And I remember moving to Southeast Asia and thinking, like, I've seen this before, or I felt this culture before. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, it felt familiar to me, but I'd never been there.
Yeah.
And it was like I always had this pull when I would look online for traveling. I always had this pull like to Asia, but specifically Southeast Asia. And I wasn't really sure why. And then once I was there, I was like, oh, that's why. And then it all made sense when I got called to Cambodia because I don't know. It's like I felt like I knew the people before this life or something. Like,
You probably did.
yeah, but that might sound crazy to some people, but like I really believe it. And I think the same with you. Like, you have dreams and these almost like visions, it kind of sounds like, of what your life's going to look like. And it's just been cool to actually experience those things with you, like with Florida, especially. I think you probably knew that you'd always have a connection to Florida, like through your mission, but you like felt that it was going to be in a different capacity later on as well.
Yeah, I did.
And it's just so cool to see life that way, you know, connecting and actually.
I felt that in a couple different areas. Like when we went on our road trip, do you remember? I feel like we both felt that about Charleston, South Carolina, and pretty much everywhere in between, from like Orlando to Miami to Sarasota, Bradenton area, Tampa, all throughout Florida. I remember feeling like this place is special. This year is going to be a year. Like, remember we were talking about like what are the words for the year? Mine, I was jokingly saying mine was money. But I also think that this year is about like alignment with us, because for the very, very first time, at least on my business side, I feel like we're able to invest in ourselves. I don't know, just really focus in on us and what helps make us our best version of ourselves, so we can like do things, I don't know, like be better parents, be better spouses, be better business owners, things like that. And a big part of that comes from taking care of yourself. I feel like this year I've really tried to like open up my eyes to how important it is to do self-care, because I feel like that's something that you're really good at. I'm really not good at it. And I have to work really hard at like being open to it.
And taking time for yourself.
And taking time for myself. Well, because like my vision with my business, it feels like that's so all-encompassing that it doesn't feel like work, but it is exhausting. So
yeah,
it's hard for me to take time for myself. But I feel like we've done a good job this year of like going fishing more with Noah, things like that. And I'm really excited to keep doing that in Florida. Yeah,
I'm excited to make memories. And like you said, we've kind of talked about like me not being pregnant this year and just kind of raising our family and focusing more on our health and wellness and just like self-care, all those things. And so I'm excited to continue to just feel better and be better together. But we wanted to talk about our trip a little bit further since we're on the topic of Florida. Tell everybody how it was when we went bow fishing.
Okay. So bow fishing is when you're on a boat at night and there's lights that shine out over the water. And you can see the fish, essentially. You can see the fish in probably like a 12-foot radius around the boat. And so you troll, or you go really slow through the water, and you try to shoot them with a bow and an arrow, which doesn't sound very nice, but it's actually a lot of fun. It's something that I've wanted to do for probably 10, 15 years, just watching YouTube videos of it. And we got to do that. And we got to take our son, Noah, and Noah loved it. Like, he kept hugging the captain, saying thank you, or what was it that he said?
Yeah, he's like, thank you, Captain Mike.
Yep, saying thank you, Captain Mike. Yep, it was an adventure. It was a lot harder than I was expecting it to be, but I finished with 14 fish, which is pretty good, I think.
Yeah, that was awesome. What kind of fish were they again?
So there was gar, there was long-nosed gar, short-nosed gar, which they have like a really, really tough skin. They kind of look like dinosaurs. Like, they're kind of weird looking.
And kind of crazy teeth, too.
Yeah. There was also a bowfin, which I didn't hit, but I really wanted to, which is like another really, really old species. They kind of look like snakeheads, which most people probably won't know what a snakehead is, but they're not snakeheads. They're native fish. So the gar is native, the bowfin is native, and then we shot a lot of tilapia, which are not native, but they're massive.
I was surprised, though, like when we asked him if he eats the tilapia, and he said no.
Yeah, he said because they taste muddy. And then what else was there? Oh, and then there was some bass. I accidentally did shoot some bass, which is against the rules, but it's like not like you can really tell what they are when you're looking through dirty water.
Yeah.
But I probably, like if you include the bass that I killed, I actually shot 16
Oh, yeah.
because I accidentally killed 2 bass.
Yeah. Yeah. He was like, oh, don't take a video of that one. I'm like, oh, sorry. I didn't know at first. It was cool because the captain had kids as well. I think he even said he had a son that's around Noah's age.
Yeah, he was very patient.
Yeah, so he's very patient with Noah because it was about 4 hours that we were out there on the boat from like 8 or no, do we start at 6?
Yeah, 6:30.
Yeah, it was like 6:30 p.m. to like 10:30 or so. So anyway, it was just really cool to have Noah out there. I mostly just like wrangled Noah and kept an eye on him. I did pull the bow a couple times to like test it out and stuff, but it was pretty hard. So it was more fun just kind of like watching you and getting to experience your dream together, you know?
It was a lot harder than I was expecting it, but I really enjoyed it. I would definitely do it again.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to go fishing all together and even just you and Noah to go this summer.
Does it surprise you how much Noah likes it?
No, I feel like Noah's really just like any kid, like loves to go out and do things, you know? So I think most kids would be, I don't know, excited to do that, it seems, but
We'll see. We'll see if Indy's as excited as Noah.
but I guess, you know what, that's not totally true though, because we went with my nephews that one time and I think he was getting kind of bored. I could see like with fishing, if you're not catching anything, but we were catching a ton during that time. But I'm just saying, if you're not catching anything, I do think fishing can be boring to some people or you get impatient. But yeah, I think it's fun to do together for sure. And then we also didn't talk about the beaches that we went to on our trip, just barely. So.
Yeah, we went to Siesta Key and to Cocoa Beach, which are on opposite sides of Florida. And very different beaches, honestly.
Yeah. So what did you think of, because we went to, I'm almost positive we went to both of those last time, but
We didn't.
it's okay. I really think we did. I'm going to show you a
I know
photo.
exactly like where we went. We didn't go there.
I know, but I think that like you were working one of the days that or something, like I ended up going to the beach by myself for a little while and then you showed up later. Like I have a picture of Cocoa Beach last time. It's okay. But, I know that I've been to Cocoa Beach.
Okay, it wasn't with me though.
You came later, but that's okay.
When do you think that this happened?
The RV road trip.
We never stopped in Cocoa Beach.
I swear we did.
We didn't. We drove past it. And then remember in Melbourne, that's where like it was raining really hard and we went into that cafe to get breakfast, and Melbourne is south of Cocoa Beach.
I'm just going to find a picture though and then just shock you and be like, we've been there.
We haven't.
Just wait. You're going to see it.
I would have remembered looking up and seeing Cape Canaveral.
Just wait. I'm going to show you. But anyway, what did you think about both of those beaches?
They were cool. I like Siesta Key more.
Yeah.
Like quite a bit more.
Did you know that Siesta Key, I posted this on my story, but it's like #1 beach in the US and Florida?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's really pretty and the sand is super nice.
Yeah, I guess I thought that Siesta Key Beach was man-made, but I looked it up and it's not man-made.
But you said they import the sand.
I thought that that's what it was, but last time I looked it up, that wasn't exactly what they do. It says, no, Siesta Key Beach is not man-made. It's a natural beach known for its powdery white sand, which is composed of 99% quartz rather than the typical crushed coral found on most beaches. This unique sand stays cool even on hot days, making it one of the most famous and highly rated beaches in the U.S.
That's cool.
The sand is 99% pure quartz, originating from the Appalachian Mountains. Over thousands of years, rivers carried quartz particles to the Gulf of Mexico, where ocean currents deposited them along the Florida coastline, including Siesta Key.
That's interesting.
So it's authentic and naturally formed. So I thought it was man-made, but it's not. Anyway, super cool beach. It took us forever to get there, though, because the traffic was so bad.
Yeah, Orlando traffic's pretty bad.
Yeah, I was kind of shook at how bad it was because there's no close beaches to Orlando, which kind of sucks. It's always like about an hour and a half, right, drive to go to the beach. So at least in Miami, we're going to be a lot closer
Yeah,
to
we'll
the
probably be
beach.
within 20 minutes.
Yeah, so that's nice. I feel like last time we went to Miami, it was just South Beach that we went to. Was there any other ones that you remember?
No, there was another one. I just don't remember what it was.
Oh, okay.
We had like dinner on the pier,
Oh, yeah. I do remember that. Okay. I'm excited to like explore the different beaches though.
We actually went to 3 beaches, and then I fished off of the deck of another one.
Okay. Maybe that's what I'm thinking about. Like it looked like Cocoa Beach, but it was actually in Miami. I don't know. I could be wrong.
You're not wrong now.
We'll see.
This might sound complex, but I promise you it's really simple. So, I don't know, since 2020, 2021, we opened up Zunex, started in Seattle. We opened up Salt Lake this last year, and now we're opening up in Miami this next year. Or no, in a month, actually. But in the meantime, I've opened up 2 other businesses, and they all kind of serve Zunex, and they're sister companies to Zunex, but they're completely separate LLCs. So one of them is a door-to-door company called Toro Marketing. And the reason why it's separate is to protect the asset of annual recurring customers, like essentially the big money portion of the pest control business that continues to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I could use Toro Marketing as a way to continue to grow the sales organization, because my pest control companies, they can only grow by so much each year. I really only want to grow each office by 2,000 to 3,000 accounts each year. And if you go beyond that, you overextend yourself a little bit. So having Toro Marketing means that I can have my sales reps sell for Zunex, but then they can also sell for other companies at a profit. So like we will charge other companies a premium to essentially rent out our sales reps. And that's honestly, like, I'm not like a business genius. That's not a new thing. That's something that a lot of companies have done. But essentially it creates like a release valve. So we're not controlled or limited by the bottleneck that Zunex creates, because it can only grow by so much each year. But I also did another thing that's kind of similar to Toro on the inside sales portion, because there's 2 different ways that most companies grow. Well, actually, there's 3. There's acquisitions. They acquire other companies, but that's really, really complicated. There's inside sales, which means that you work with a marketing company to manage your Google ads, and then you get phone calls from Google about people wanting pest control. And then that gets directed into your office. You pick up the phone and you sell them. That's inside sales.
And what's that company called?
It's called Volt, VULT.
Have you ever talked about it on the podcast before?
I don't know if I have.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I have. So essentially, Volt is a business that does inside sales for Zunex, but also does it for other pest control companies. And so I have 3 businesses, but the 2 of them are monetizations of what we were already doing for Zunex, and is going to be used to get revenue and then drive it back in to Zunex. It's like an ecosystem. Honestly, they all like function really well together.
The Zunex jungle.
Yeah, the Zunex ecosystem, and they all support each other. I'm really excited though about Volt. I think that legitimately it'll be our quickest growing business, because the service offering that we offer is something that nobody else offers in the market right now. We're first to market with it, as far as like really leaning into selling like a white label inside sales call center to other pest control companies. And this idea came around December, and now it's March. So from idea to business, it's been about 3 months, but right now we have about 9 to 10 companies contracted, like right on the edge of signing that 10th. But all in all, we're probably going to do between $4 to $6 million in sales for other pest control companies. And then we make a commission off of that. It's not how much revenue we actually get into our checking account. The thing that's really exciting for me about Volt is that we get to help companies get to a place where they can scale their business, and the sales, like the relationships that come from it, are super interesting because they're other pest control company owners. I'm selling to other pest control company owners, and these sales, they're big sales. Like every sale that we close is like a minimum of $300,000 of sales for Volt. And I've just never worked with something that is that high ticket before, and it's just really exhilarating. Like the little dopamine hit that I used to get from selling pest control on the doors, like selling a $600 to $700 contract, didn't really hit as much anymore, but this does. So it's been really exciting. But anyways, that's what we're doing.
That is exciting though. You should explain how you came up with the name Volt.
So the name Volt comes from Deus Volt, which means it's God's will. It was a battle cry that the Crusaders used in the First Crusade.
It's Latin, right?
Yeah, it means God wills it. But Volt came as an answer to prayer, and I thought it'd be cool to name it Volt because like it's God's will, like it was a prayer that this business idea came to me through.
Yeah.
Okay, so this episode is brought to you by Toro Marketing, which is my company. It's a door-to-door company where we sell pest control over the summer and in some markets throughout the year. What I wanted to share with you guys is if you guys have friends or family that are looking for work or they're getting ready to come home off of a mission and they're looking for a place or a way to kind of become a little bit more financially independent or just have a really good learning experience, if you recommend them and introduce them to us and they come out and work with us, then one of the cool things is that we'll actually give you a $500 gift card if they sign with us. And some of the things that you should know about them potentially working with me is that when it comes to door-to-door, I've done it for 13 years. In the door-to-door space, I'm fairly well known. What I'm known for is for breaking a sales record, for selling the most accounts. I broke the all-time record back in 2019, and so I don't say that to puff myself up, but really to kind of give you an understanding of my pedigree when it comes to sales. I help people make around $100,000 or more during a summer, and it's not an atypical thing. It's more often that they'll make around 30,000, 20 to 30,000, but I help people all the time make that much money. And it's really not, for me, it's not so much about the money. I'm not like most door-to-door companies in the sense that I put a lot of emphasis on the glitz and the glam and the things that really don't matter. The reason why I'm passionate about door-to-door is because I believe that it's the perfect vehicle for self-development. Like it's the closest thing to the mission for me in the sense that it really has helped me become a better version of myself. And so truly, I think that everybody that's coming home from a mission should have some sort of experience with door-to-door. Essentially, if you have friends or family that you know would be interested in door-to-door, but you're not sure who they should go with or work with, if you introduce us to them and we're able to sign them, we would happily give you guys $500, like a gift card. So feel free to reach out to us directly through our Instagram platform to connect me with them.
So we had a couple submissions online just like about what we should chat about on the podcast. And so someone submitted like how to grow as a business owner. And so I was just thinking maybe if you had any thoughts about that or...
Yeah, I do. Well, it depends. There's two different types of growth, I think. There's growth of the business and then there's growth of self.
And also I was going to ask you too, with having as many businesses as you do, just like how has that been for you? Like, is it overwhelming? And
sometimes, but mostly not. The reason why it's not overwhelming is because I've built systems underneath me and they're not completely dependent on me. I remember I was like years ago, I was reading about Napoleon. Like one of the conclusions as to why Napoleon was able to build such a large empire was because he was a believer in decentralized command, meaning he wasn't a control freak.
yeah,
Like as long as his generals hit certain standards, he would let them be creative in how they did things.
yeah,
And that really, really struck a chord with me because I'm naturally not a micromanager. I don't like to micromanage. I like to macro manage. When it comes to business growth, there are some people who are in business that will never, ever be able to scale beyond their own capacity or beyond one, maybe two employees. That could be for a lot of different reasons, but if the business is scalable or could be scaled, like for example, a software company. Software companies are made to be scaled, or home service-based business, they're made to be scaled. Now, I don't have anything negative to say about people that choose to just own their business and not really grow it. But what I would say is that the reason why I do is because I recognized that if I was to stay stagnant, and maybe stagnant's not the right word, I don't want to like offend people. The truth is that if I don't change, the business won't change. And so if I'm a control freak, or if I just don't, if there's something that I'm not quite understanding about why my business isn't growing,
yeah,
it requires me figuring it out in order for the business to grow. When it comes to the entrepreneur, the CEO, or the person that's at the head of the organization, the business will live and grow based off of that person's decision to lean into self-growth.
Like you're saying, if you're thriving, the business is thriving.
The business won't thrive if I don't thrive.
Yeah.
And thrive might not even be the right word. If I don't grow, the business won't grow, or the business will likely not grow beyond my personal capacity. And if it does, then you lose control, and it's not that like I'm trying to be a controlling person. Business is an interesting thing. It's like an incubator of becoming a better version of yourself, because to go from 1 employee to 2 employees to 3 employees to 10 employees to 20 employees, it requires you to be able to build systems, like training systems, and be able to replace yourself.
Yeah.
So you have to become a good trainer, and then you also have to be able to be a good leader.
But also I think you have to have trust as well, like letting people, like you said, thrive in their own little capacity as well.
I think the thing that stops people the most is, like, in relation to trust, is they only trust themselves, but what they need to do is they need to build a system and trust their system. So if there was somebody that was like at a roadblock because they were really controlling, I would say, hey, control the system and make the system bigger than just yourself. And I would try to like shift their focus from self-control, like them having to do everything, to like building out a system that they can feel that same way about, but enables growth.
Remember when I asked you though, like, do you think that someone who is very controlling would struggle as a business owner?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I just think
People who are perfectionists or are controlling often won't ever scale beyond themselves.
I was just thinking though, last time I was at Zunex, like sometimes I'll take Noah and just our family to go visit Josh at work. And also my mom works in the business as well. But anyway, last time we were there, I was just thinking and looking around at all the different offices that, people have. And it was just really cool to sit back and think how many people currently have a job for something that you had a vision for and believed in and have grown. I don't know.
I think it's like 40 people almost.
Yeah. Like when you really sit back and think about that, like that you're able to create something and give people jobs, especially like in an economy where a lot of people are looking for work, I feel like, and how does that make you feel? Like when you really sit back and think about that, like, are you proud?
Yes, but not in the sense that it gives me any sort of sense of like closure or finality at all.
Yeah.
Like it's
no,
just a natural, like I'm proud of where we've gone, but it's just a natural next step, like.
But will it ever be enough?
No. But that's because I'm not motivated by money. Like I have an itch that I try my best to scratch, but it'll never be able to be fully scratched.
But does it give you like a sense of accomplishment or pride?
In some ways, but I think you know this. I think I'm not really a prideful person. Like I'm not boastful about myself, but that's because I genuinely don't feel that. Like I think that some people could be really prideful if they sat where I sat, but I just don't feel that way. And it's not me trying to be like a Peter Priesthood and be holier than thou or be like have a false premise of humbleness. I think that in order for me to be as successful as I've been, I've had to distance myself from emotions to get to where I'm at. And so it just doesn't hit me the same way as it might hit somebody else.
Yeah, I get that.
It's not so much of me like wanting to
it can't be
broadcast
about that.
false humility here. I just don't feel emotions around it. Like,
yeah,
if anything, I feel a sense of relief when I get to a different milestone. It's like, yes, okay, I did it. I said I was going to do it. I did it. Now what's next?
But I think it's still like, I always want to remind you like of how important it is to like sit back and have moments of like accomplishment and pride, like not in a boastful way, but just like to be, I don't know, excited about the future and see how far you've come. Because I feel like you could just be pushing and pushing and pushing, kind of like that story that you always talk about, the guy that's pushing the boulder up the hill. Yeah. I just could see you constantly pushing the boulder forever without like sitting back and being like, wow, I did that.
Isn't that the purpose of life though? Like that's the purpose of like, I think of it from like a spiritual perspective, that we're supposed to always be increasing. We're supposed to always be getting better and learning more and doing more. And it's not like, I mean, do I strike you? Am I a perfectionist?
No, you're not.
And so to me, it feels like gravity. It's like, I have to do it. There's like an inner compulsion that I just can't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
I mean, yeah, but it's not like I don't like feel like super amped up about it. It's just like, I just can't stop.
So is there
it's not like I have the Kanye West song Power like in my head as my soundtrack. Like as I'm doing things, I just do them.
Is there anything else that you would give advice to about being a business owner?
I don't know that I really gave advice. What I would say is if you want to become a really solid business owner, at some point in your life, you have to push yourself beyond what you think you can do and just to see what's on the other side of your best effort. And that requires giving yourself to something larger than yourself, whether that's a mission, whether that's business, whether that's fitness. You have to do it in some way. Like, it's important for you to learn the lesson that if you combine your sheer strength of will with consistent effort over a long enough time, there's really nothing you can't do. Like, I'm not talking about I can work really hard and I can become an NFL athlete. Like, obviously that's not true. But when it comes to things that are within your control, there's so much more that we can accomplish and do in this life than what we really realize.
Yeah.
And in order to hit that, you have to have looked at yourself in the mirror like that. And that comes usually through pain. Like, you have to have, like, legitimately though, it does.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have a relationship with discomfort where it doesn't necessarily stop you.
That makes sense. Another question that was asked is how being a business owner and doing sales has affected friendships.
I would say it depends from business owner to business owner, but I've done a lot of really in-depth self-reflection.
We were just talking about like friendship on a pretty deep level too, actually, when we were in Florida.
Yeah. I personally struggle with allowing myself to be vulnerable enough to have really deep connections. And that's not because of business. It's because of other things that have happened in my life. But for me as a business owner and just the way that my mind works, I'm really good at reading people's intentions. And so for me, I just have to be very, very, very careful with who I'm vulnerable around. Because when it comes to the people that I work with, like, their perception of me, it's not that I care what they think about me in the sense that it brings me in any sort of like ego boost. But if people aren't sure that I'm a good leader, or if they feel like I'm all over the place, or if they feel like they can't trust me, or I don't know, any of that kind of stuff, that could directly impact how they feel about working with us.
Yeah. It affects the business.
Yeah, it affects the business. So
that's a little bit lonely, I feel like, though.
Yeah, it is lonely, but it needs to be. Remember, we were watching Sold on Salt Lake City? Mm-hmm. And that chick, Jennifer, was that her name?
Yeah.
The head person. I was telling you that she was doing things that were pretty dumb. Like, she's like being way too vulnerable with her team, or she was like involving herself too much in their drama. And not being like a neutral party. She was involving herself in it. And so when it comes to a business owner, you really have to be very careful. You have to try to be neutral, but positive.
Yeah.
And you have to have a healthy level of like keeping your arm up.
So how has that affected friendships for you or relationships?
Honestly, I feel like it's kind of fit in naturally with how I already kind of am. So I don't know that I feel anything negative about it, because it already aligns naturally with who I am. Like, I'm not somebody that lets a lot of people in already. And so it works for me.
Yeah. So you're probably kind of unique in that way, though. Okay. So we're going to talk about the end of this episode, just more of like a time capsule and talking about what we both think life will be like. We can choose, I guess, it says 5 to 10 years. Somebody submitted that. So in 5 years, it'll be 2030, which is kind of crazy to think about that.
I think our lifestyle will be very, very, very different in 5 years. It'll be a culmination of all the things that we've been building. You and I have really laid the foundation for our life to scale rather than just, I don't know, things changing really, really quickly. We're kind of a slow burn, and then all of a sudden it's a bonfire. And that's kind of what it's going to be like for us when it comes to money. Money is, sometimes I feel weird talking about it, but I don't want to be that guy that's weird, feels weird talking about it. At that point, realistically, like I've told Caitlin this a couple of times, I don't know that you like fully internalize it when I say it to you, but by that point, we'll have either sold a couple of branches or our annual income, like we'll be making, how many figures is that? We'll have a 7-figure income by that point. And that's just a natural consequence of us owning multiple businesses that do millions and millions of dollars in revenue, which we already have.
Yeah.
Like this year alone, Zunex will probably do about $7 million in annual recurring income. It's not that we pocket that, we don't at all. And 5 years from now, I think it'll be doing $20 to $25 million. So I think Volt will be doing $75 to $100 million in sales for other companies. And then Toro, I think that Toro Marketing each year will be doing 10 to 15 million.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, but that's that's what we've built out. We've built out the foundation for this to happen. And there's not really any mystery as to how it's going to happen now, because I've removed myself from being the bottleneck in our businesses, because the truth is that I am. Like, I can get things organized to a certain extent, at which point if I remain in the business in that way, I become a bottleneck. So I replace myself with somebody that's better at it than me. So I can focus in on what I'm really good at.
Yeah.
Which is moving pieces around on a chessboard. And so from a business standpoint, our net worth will be in the tens of millions of dollars, and our income will probably be anywhere between 1 to 1.5 million. In 10 years, it'll probably be closer to 5 to 8 million in annual income.
That's intense.
Yeah.
I love hearing you just like talk about
How much money we're going to make?
Yeah. I don't want to sound like that, but no, I'm just saying like it's true though. Like you have worked so hard for all the things that have happened and will happen. And obviously like I'm your number one supporter and I believe in you. And obviously all of that sounds amazing and incredible, but I really believe like if you don't talk about things or manifest certain things, it might not happen, right? I mean, you obviously have to work for it too, but I'm just saying like, it's not even, I know you and I know it doesn't come from like being, like we were just talking about being prideful and boastful. It's just like, I'm working really hard for this to happen, you know?
And it's not even so much that I'm working hard for that to happen. I don't really care about the money aspect. I just want freedom for us to do what we want to do.
Yeah.
Which plays into what the rest of our life will look like over those 5 years, 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. And I was going to say like looking back maybe on this episode later on, like what could we talk about that we hope our life might look like or what we think it'll look like?
I think that you and I will have finally like struck a really, really solid balance in learning how important it is for us to take care of ourselves and our relationship and how that's not selfish for us. I think that you and I will understand the line in which it is selfish and we won't go over that line, but that we'll invest in ourselves because that means that we can be our best for our children, for our family as a whole, and for our business, for our community, things like that. Like I think that that's really what it'll look like. And that could look a couple different ways. Whether, I don't know, I do think that you and I will both be in pretty good shape, like physically, because I think that plays a role in just
well, it just
having your
depends.
stuff dialed in.
Yeah, it just depends if I'm like pregnant or not though. Because I do think that in the next 5 years, we'll definitely have another kid.
Probably.
So it just depends. But yeah, that's the goal, right? To always be healthy and live longer and have more energy,
Yeah.
for our kids especially. So yeah, I hope that we definitely at least have one more kid and maybe in the next 10 years, we'll have 2 more kids. A total of 4. We'll see. That's the plan, I would say, between 3 and 4 kids. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I envision for us. I mean, I definitely want to manifest and envision us in a house of our own that we own.
I think we'll either be building or a built one.
So that's the goal for that. I don't know. Is there anything else that you see in our future or want to manifest?
I think when it comes to our kids, I think that Noah will continue to have like a strong relationship with us because I think that this next phase of life for us more so than like this first phase has been about like brute force effort in a lot of ways, like learning really hard lessons. And I'm not saying that it's not always going to be like that. There's going to be an aspect of that forever. But I really do think that we're turning a new page in which we can focus on aligning ourselves with our faith, with each other, with taking care of ourselves. And I think that that's going to play dividends if we do that long term, which I think we will.
Well, yeah. And I think obviously there's people out there maybe who have just started listening or don't know us personally. But I will say like this year will be our 5th wedding anniversary. And like it does feel like we've been on like a freight train, kind of like going super quick, or like Space Mountain, taking all these twists and turns, and it's been accelerated. That's how I would describe it, and we've had some hard times, like some pretty intense times.
Yeah.
In a short amount of time. I can't even imagine like what exactly will happen in the next 5 years, just because so much has happened with having 2 children and moving to a new state and building all of these businesses and like the Zoonex Welcome to the Zoo empire that we're like dreaming of and doing. And it's been like really surreal for me to see everything that we've done as a couple, but also individually. And something that we've talked about in the last little bit, because I've ran several half marathons and we've been talking about doing one together, which is kind of crazy because you have always said, I'm not a runner. I hate running. It's kind of been like your your vibe, which I feel like I kind of used to feel that way too. Going back to like what you were saying earlier about doing hard things, I think we both kind of have that in us where we like having big goals and accomplishing those goals, and just that feeling, kind of like what you were saying, like the dopamine hit of, you know, door to door, what that used to bring you. And now, you know, it's bigger. But yeah, so I think it'd be cool for us to do more like health related things together.
I think that we will.
Yeah. And so we've talked about running a half marathon together this year, which I think would be amazing. So that's another, I guess, time capsule goal that I think we could have, is maybe even running like a full marathon together.
Oh, I think that will definitely happen.
Really?
Yeah, I think it'll happen within a year and a half.
Oh man. I don't know. I've always like pushed off that idea in my mind. Like I've been so content with and proud of myself for running 4 half marathons. And I'm like, I can't even imagine actually being a part of what I was telling you, like the 0.01% to 5 or 0.05% of people who run a full marathon. Like I would love that, honestly, for us to have that goal. Even just a half marathon with you.
You're probably faster than me though.
But I never thought that we would even run like a half marathon together. So if we actually do that, I think it would be super, super cool.
Mm-hmm. Would you ever put yourself beyond a marathon once you've done it?
I don't think so. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I just think that, like I was telling you, running is one of the like more difficult things for me when it comes to fitness. Like I always have felt pretty fit and healthy overall. Like did cheer in high school, dance. And then after high school, I feel like I've always kind of kept it a priority, you know? Obviously I'm not exactly where I want to be, like after having a child, it's just more intense, but, I do like having these big goals, and that's why it's been addicting for me to do the marathons. And so maybe if there's like something else I could find that would like scratch that itch, like you say, because I watch like my cousin who does CrossFit, like do these really cool competitions. Like I think it was called High Rocks is one that she did in Vegas. And
yeah, it looked cool.
Yeah. Like I think it's so dope to watch her do those things. Like, I don't know. So maybe there's something we could tap into. I don't know if it would be CrossFit, but it could be something else. I don't know.
Could be. So who knows? Like 5 to 10 years from now, who the heck knows where we're going to be? But we kind of have a general idea. We hope that we're right.
Do you think we'll live in Utah?
Maybe.
I feel like there's a high chance.
I think we'll have a house here.
Yeah. And I hope too, like, and manifest that we always keep travel a priority for us and just like making really cool memories with our family through travel. And I think just like not shying away from traveling with kids. Yeah. Because I feel like we've done a good amount of traveling with just us overall, like especially with having kids so quickly. But yeah. But I also want Noah to experience travel.
He will
with us, you know.
I think he'll really. I think he loves traveling. So
if I could say, like, looking back on this episode later on, I would love to have done like a big trip with Noah and Indy. I think that would be cool. I'm not sure where, but maybe a couple even. Who knows? I don't know. Is there anything else that you can see in the next 5 years?
That covers the broad strokes of it.
Yeah. Super exciting. Thanks for everybody who listens to our podcast and has been on the journey with us. And yeah, I can't wait to see what happens this summer in Miami. It's going to be super exciting. So, and warm weather, here we come. Especially today. I'm like, peace out, snow, bye. But like I said, we'll probably be eating our words when we're dying in Miami. But anyways, thanks for listening today, guys, and hope everybody stays safe in the snow. And rate, subscribe, review, share this with anyone who you think might enjoy our podcast and maybe might need some business advice, because I feel like this episode was really kind of business centered with Josh kind of chatting about his progression with Volt and Toro and Zunex. But we really appreciate all the support and love you guys. And welcome to the zoo.